If you're waiting for the people in your life to approve of the things you want to do, you're going to be waiting forever. And that's why you're not doing the things you keep saying you're going to do. I don't mean that you shouldn't care what people think. You're going to care, and it's not possible to stop caring. Of course, you care. If you love your parents, you're going to care about their opinion. If you have close friends, you're going to care what they think. If there's someone whose opinion genuinely matters to you, you're going to care about how they see you. The problem is when caring about someone's opinion turns into needing their approval before you're willing to act. Because eventually, you're not just considering what they think, you're letting what they think decide what you do. It's not even that you're afraid of what people think. You already know what they're going to say. You know your parents, you know your friends, you know the people closest to you. You've had enough conversations with them to know how they're probably going to react when you tell them what you want to do. You can practically hear the conversation before it even happens. Are you sure that's a good idea? Why would you leave your job? Do you really think that's realistic? What if it doesn't work out? There is something really interesting when this happens. Anticipated judgment can become a form of self-censorship. They don't actually have to tell you no. You've already told yourself no on their behalf. And you start changing your behavior before they've even had the opportunity to react. You don't start the business because you know your parents are going to question it. You don't post the content because you can already imagine someone you know finding your channel. You don't apply for the opportunity because you're already thinking about what everyone is going to say if you don't get it. And eventually, you start making decisions based less on what do I actually want and more on what choice is going to be easiest for everyone else to understand. That's what I mean when we say we're waiting for permission. Because most of the time, nobody's literally standing in front of you saying, no, you can't do that. You're waiting for something much more subtle. You're waiting for them to understand. You're waiting for them to agree. You're waiting for them to reassure you that you're making the right decision. You're waiting until you feel confident that nobody is going to judge you. You're waiting to feel like you're allowed to choose differently. But the problem is that that moment may never come. There might never be a version of this where everyone around you suddenly says, you know what, I completely understand, go for it. And if you make their approval a prerequisite for taking action, you can and will spend years waiting. Okay, so the answer to solving this is different from what we normally hear. You don't need to convince yourself that you don't care. You don't need to repeat, I don't care what anyone thinks, when you obviously do. You don't need to become this completely unaffected person who can do whatever they want and never feel uncomfortable. The goal is to become someone who can care and still act. There's a difference between, I don't care what you think, and I care what you think, but I'm going to make my own decision. The second one is so much more powerful because now you're not trying to eliminate the emotion, you're learning to move while the emotion is still there. The only way you really get better at this is through experience. You build self-trust by acting and discovering that you can survive someone else's disapproval. You tell someone what you want to do. Maybe they don't understand. Maybe they question you. Maybe they even tell you they think you're making a mistake. And you listen, you consider what they said, and then you make your own decision. And maybe it's uncomfortable, but you do it anyway. Eventually, you'll have this evidence that says, okay, someone disagreed with me, and I'm still okay. And then you do it again, and again, and again, and eventually you'll realize that their disapproval isn't as dangerous as you thought it was. And that's how you start becoming less dependent on external validation. Not because you suddenly stopped caring, but because you've built enough trust in yourself that someone else's opinion no longer has the power to make your decisions for you. This is especially important when it comes to the things you've always wanted to do. If you're waiting to pursue something until everyone understands your vision, you're going to be waiting for a very, very long time. Your parents might not understand. Your friends might think you're being unrealistic. Someone might think you're wasting your time. Someone might judge you, and honestly, they could be right about some things. You don't have to assume that everyone who disagrees with you is inherently wrong. Listen to people, take the information in, let their opinions challenge you when they actually have something valuable to say, but don't confuse someone having an opinion about your life with that person being responsible for deciding what you do with it. They don't have to understand your vision for you to pursue it. They don't have to agree with your decision for you to make it, and they don't have to approve of the life you're building for you to start building it. So if you've been trying to figure out how to stop caring what people think, I don't think that's the goal. The goal is to get to a place where someone's opinion can exist without controlling your behavior. You can hear what your parents think and still make your own decision. You can know your friends might judge you and still pursue the thing you've always wanted. You can care that someone disagrees with you without allowing their disagreement to become the reason you don't do it. That's what it actually means to stop letting other people's opinions control your life. Not becoming someone who doesn't care, but becoming someone who can care and still choose for themselves. You won't think your way into becoming that person. You build it by doing. You make the decision. You let someone disagree. You feel uncomfortable and you realize you're still okay. And then you do it all over again. That's how you build self-trust, and eventually their opinion can still matter to you without determining what you do with your life. So, if there's something you've been putting off because you're afraid of what someone else is going to think, maybe you don't need to stop caring. Maybe you just need to stop letting their opinion make the decision for you. That's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video has blessed you and inspired you. And if you want more content like this, I post a video every single week. So make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!